and welcome to this episode of Alaska Real Estate Live. I'm here with Erik at Real Property Management and Tracy at Residential Mortgage. And today we're going to be going over everything VA. Anything about VA buyers, consumers, sellers, loans, and all that other stuff. Erik is super passionate about this subject because he is retired military. I grew up as a military brat, traveled all over the world, saw a lot of great stuff, and I am super attached to, making sure that our military community gets the information they need to make a good decision. So with that said, Tracy, tell us a little bit about the VA loans and let's talk a little bit about that. Funding fees is something that I always hear at the very end. We're going to closing and the buyer's like, what is this?
It's so funny because they get all the documentation, but nobody ever reads the documentation because it's mortgage loan documentation, right?
Right.
Yeah, there's funding fees, and they're pretty hefty. Mm-hmm. So you finance them on the back end of the loan. The first time you use your VA loan, you're looking at 2.15%. And then any other time you use your VA loan, unless you're disabled, you're looking at 3.3%. And on a $400,000 house, that's a big chunk of money added on the back end of your mortgage that you're not really thinking about, if you have to go sell your house in a couple years.
Well, and the reason why, and Erik, you've used a VA, so you could probably talk about this quite a bit, is, people like it is because they come in with zero down. That's the big appeal.
That's the appeal, absolutely. And overall, the VA loan is still a better monthly payment, even with zero down, compared to most other loan programs, until you go to sell. Yeah.
Well, what's funny is I don't think there's enough conversation around the fact that, I'm just going to use for round numbers, you buy a $200,000 home, you close on that $200,000 home, and you owe what, $207, $209 about, on that, because all your funding fees, everything was rolled into that. And so now you actually owe more on your house than when you actually bought the house. So it takes some time to recover that cost after ownership.
And in time, we're talking years, not months. So yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, real estate is a great appreciation, for your investment portfolio, but it's not a quick, get quick scheme rich thing. You're not flipping typically with that.
Yep. Yeah, it's something that you're going to want to, normally real estate, when you buy it, it's to hold on to it, because that's how you're going to make your money, is by the appreciation of it. And with the VA buyers, they PCS out and they think, oh, I have to sell. Well, they don't necessarily have to sell. They can rent it, and that's where Erik comes in to help you rent your property out.
Or they may not be able to sell because of that equity problem that we talked about. You might be writing a check at closing.
Yeah. Well, we've seen that happen a lot. Unfortunately, when the market is, flat or declining, then, you do have that. You have a VA buyer who bought a house, the market declined, and then they owed more on their house than when they bought it, and now they're upset because their real estate didn't perform well, and market conditions are definitely things that you need to.
That was me. I bought my first VA home.
Well,
I did. If you could do everything wrong, I did it. My stepdad the whole time kept telling me, buy a fourplex, buy a fourplex, buy a fourplex. Oh, those scary, those big numbers, they're scary. So I used my VA loan. I bought a brand new house in a just starting to development in Oklahoma City, just south of Tinker Air Force Base. And because the Air Force told me, hey, you're going to be here for at least 6 years, right? So 6 months after and
they always do what they're going to say, right?
Right. The government's great at doing what they say they're going to do.
Nothing ever changes.
Yeah. So here I was. So 6 months later, I had my brand new home. 6 months after that, I was on my way to Alaska. So much for 6 years. So I think you got to be really careful. Now in Oklahoma at that time, especially because I bought it in 2006, that's when the market really. Right. So now I still, to this day, would probably write a check at closing. I would be lucky if I got any money out of it.
You mean because of the market down there?
Because the market in especially in Oklahoma City. Now I made actually pretty decent cash flow in the last few years on it, but the appreciation is flat. Yep, rented it out. Yep, rented it out.
So that was a call that you had to make, let's hold on to this.
I'm going to hold it. Yep, it's a brand new house, which for rental purposes is great.
Perfect.
Because what do you have to fix in a brand new house? Very, very little. So that was an upside to it.
Yeah.
Well, and every market has a different appreciation. I think that's something that you need to study and, know what's going on, what's driving the market in that area. And people don't realize that, every place is a micro market, from even in our town. I mean, we've all dealt with real estate out in Wasilla, Palmer, Eagle River, Anchorage, and then you got your further out places, Houston. And,
even between Eagle River and Chugiak, there's a difference.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
And we're basically the same city.
Yeah. When we look at what places rent for on $1 per square foot average, the same number for Anchorage will be true in Eagle River 99% of the time. Go just that little bit farther out to Chugiak, you're going to have valley numbers. You're gonna be closer to that $1 per square foot.
Crazy?
It's and what is that? Maybe 5 minutes drive.
Yeah,
it just
depends on how,
yeah.
But it is interesting. So, one thing that we talked about a little bit earlier that I think is, beautiful about the VA loan, though. I mean, I want to talk about what's really awesome is you get, a 20-something-year-old in the military, they're fresh in their career, their long-term goal is to be a career, make this their career, they're not in and out or whatnot. And, and my dad used to talk about this all the time. I mean, he's how I got into real estate. And, I can't tell you how many consultations he had with military consumers that it was like, yeah, buy a multifamily, buy a duplex, buy a triplex, buy one here and then buy one at your next duty station and buy one at your next duty station. And every time you are building a huge portfolio for your retirement and your investment. Yeah.
That's actually how I got into. I was working in college when I was going through ROTC. I worked at a local airport, and there was a Navy vet out there. And here he was in his 40s, drove a Cadillac, having a ball, working for $12 an hour. And finally, I asked him, dude, what are you doing? Working at an airport pumping avgas for $12 an hour? And he says, I just work here because I want to. Well, how do you do that? Well, he done exactly what you said. Every duty station, he bought another place, bought another place, bought another place. And now he was living on the cash flow from his rental properties. And he got to go work somewhere he wanted to work, not because he had to, but because he wanted to work there. And that was talking about a light bulb over my head.
I want to actually touch base on that too, because a lot of veterans they don't know you can use your VA more than once. Like, you don't have to sell your house to be able to use your VA to get another house at your another station. You can rent your house and you still have so much VA eligibility that you could potentially use that again to buy another house.
Well, and another strategy, and we've talked about this in some of our investment classes that we've done together, is so you want to go and buy that third or fourth house. So you start buying multiple properties, it always becomes like, how can I get that next loan? That starts to become the issue more than some of the other stuff. So you can take and refi into a conventional loan, one of your other places, and then go and buy some of your VA for the next purchase, right?
Yep, absolutely. You can always refinance out of your VA. There's no stipulation on that. Normally, most people have to wait a couple of years because they have to wait for that appreciation, so they have the value, because you can't refinance into another program at 100% like you can VA. But also with that, I just kind of want to touch on RD buyers too. They're in the same situation. That's rural development out in the valley. They're doing 100% financing, and they're going to be in the same situation as a VA buyer.
Well, I know that there was a time here, I want to say like this last year, that we had people that were coming to you and they were like, yeah, VA loan. You're like, well, you have enough money to come in down. Why don't you go conventional? Because the conventional was actually a better program for them.
Because they're avoiding that VA funding fee. So you definitely need to talk to your professionals and see and look at your options.
I was really surprised how many VA eligible people were going with conventional just because of the low interest rate and all the other factors that kind of went into play, that I was like, oh, okay.
Well, and let the numbers make that, it's the same thing we do with rent prices
and things
like that. Yeah. Let the numbers make the decision for you, because it takes the emotion out of it. And if you sit down and say, well, gosh, if I put this amount down, here's my mortgage payment, and I'm going to, you're probably going to have a fairly low mortgage payment. But maybe, if you're that young guy who's just got started in the military, you don't have a lot of equity. Yeah, maybe VA is the only thing available to you, and what an amazing tool it is too.
Right.
It's,
And normally when they buy a triplex, they're looking at covering their whole mortgage payment. They rarely have to come up with any money for their own mortgage payment, because they're using all the rent from those 3 other units to pay their mortgage for them.
Right. Yeah. That's the other thing that when considering the actual property that you buy is, you have a BAH that you have up here, and when you transfer out, that's going to be different.
It is, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we run into that a lot where, we have somebody who they just got their PCS orders, right? They're coming in and say, hey, we're moving to XYZ in 2 months. Okay, cool. And we take a look at the property, and the conversation always goes, well, my mortgage is, and that's the tough part as a property manager, because you have to say, well, okay, but that doesn't really factor into
The market
it, right?
doesn't care what your mortgage is.
Bingo. The market, and I tell
That's
people,
hard.
Remember how much you cared what the previous guy paid for the place? Yeah, that's how much your renter's going to care how much your mortgage is.
Right.
And it sucks, but that's the thing is there's a lot of folks that they get themselves in trouble because they got those PCS orders maybe a year or two before they thought they were going to. And they can't sell. And now, so, hey, you saved a ton of money when you bought on a VA loan, right? Because you didn't have to put down, but put some money aside because there's a transition period. It's just not realistic for the property manager to have somebody in that house the day after you leave covering your payment.
Yeah.
Right.
You need to be able to bridge some gap. You need to be able to make some rent-ready repairs.
Well, and if it's a single-family home, you need to have a gap, if there's vacancy.
Worst case scenario, I would plan on 2 to 3 months of mortgage payment.
Right.
Would be just a really good plan, and then you'd have some money for repairs. And if you had to go 2 months vacant because they gave you PCS orders on December, we've had that recently. In fact, I think you guys sent me a client that had they had literally got PCS orders on Christmas.
Oh yeah.
And it's
so would you recommend the
Yeah.
same thing then for a multifamily, having 2 to 3 months payment reserves?
It's a little bit different because you're 100% vacant when you're a single family home, and when you're a fourplex, one unit goes vacant, you're only a quarter, only one of 4 units is vacant, and so that's kind of
you've got some insulation actually built in, it's plan on having a little bit of a cushion in there and you'll be okay. And I think a lot of people also, they look at multifamily and they think, oh, well, multifamily, I'm going to be stuck in some, low rent part of town and my kids are going to be both sharing one bedroom. And that's,
you don't have to
get out of that mindset, right?
Yeah.
Alaska's unique with its property like that, I think, though. I don't think every place is quite like that, but I think Alaska because...
Yeah. I live in a duplex that we financed on a VA loan. It is 3 bedroom, 2 bath, 2-car garage. We have a big fenced backyard. It's a very nice Southside neighborhood. Multifamily does not mean low rent, cramped spaces.
Right, and touching on that too, I think VA buyers don't realize that they can use whatever their proposed rental income is going to be to qualify for that unit, because they're like, I can afford a fourplex. Those are $400,000, $500,000 or whatever they are.
Whatever they are at that time, right?
No, you can because you have a VA loan. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, and you can
a little
buy
bit
VA
jealous.
loan.
I got to be honest, a little bit jealous once in a while. I'm like, dang it! I should have made my husband join the military.
Mine would have.
And you can use it up to a fourplex. You can use your VA loan. Now, if you have kids, that's probably not a great choice. But I lived in a fourplex just a few blocks from here that we had 2 bedroom, 1 bath, 2-car garage. Great part of Eagle River.
What's the time frame you have to occupy though?
Well, your intent has to be to occupy for at least a year.
Yeah.
But, like you said, in your scenario, you got PCS'd out. You didn't have control of that, so they understand that. But if you buy a VA home and your intention is to rent that out right away, then your mortgage could be called on you. So I wouldn't recommend doing that.
Well, I mean, the point
the
point is maybe you are a young couple and you have, just a couple little kids and you can live there for a couple of years and that's not going to kill you because then you can move on to the next property in the future and have something that helps create wealth for your long term and stuff. I mean, there again, my dad would say, hey, I mean, here's this investment property. Take it and hold on to it. What a great retirement. What a great, college fund for your kid if you were to take and put that aside. And I mean, college isn't cheap, so there's so many strategies, I think, surrounded around, the opportunity. I think the biggest thing and takeaway that I want people to realize is there's also pitfalls. And you've got to just know your costs, know your fees, and I always say,
what risks there are.
Right, with every house or the purchase that you have, you know, be prepared to hold on to it.
Yep.
Don't be disappointed if you can't sell it, you know, and if you have to sell it or you prefer to sell it, be prepared to come in with money. You didn't come in with money when you bought the house. So like every other buyer, when they come in and they buy a loan, they have to, you know, $10,000 plus dollars. So be prepared at the end if that's what.
Be prepared to hold.
Mm-hmm.
Right. VA loan doesn't mean I get to get away with no savings account.
Right.
Yeah.
That's not the case.
Smart money. Think smart money. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. And I think times when a VA loan doesn't fit is if you know I'm leaving in 2 years and I really have no intent or want to hold on to this house.
To be a landlord.
Yeah, you need to reconsider
Be
your loan.
realistic about your.
Yeah, we actually call. I mean, there's a lot of clients we have that are we call accidental landlords. They did not intend to be a landlord.
Yeah.
So if you find yourself in that position because you got medical review boarded out, whatever plans change.
Mm-hmm.
If there's no way you could make that a rental if you had to, VA loan's probably not the best fit. I'd look at putting some money down or maybe renting for a couple of years, build up some down payment.
Sure.
Well, you have people that just come in and say, "Hey, I'm thinking about doing this. What?
Mm-hmm.
Give me some information." You guys are always happy to sit down.
Absolutely, yeah.
As
Come on
well
down to the
as
office.
you.
Yeah.
We all are, yeah.
Exactly.
We're definitely always willing to, give information. That's what we're here for.
So I want to talk about our giveaway today.
Okay,
Tracy, you want to share our giveaway?
yes,
I'm really
let's do
super
that.
excited about that. Here, I'll reach it since it's behind
Thank you
Yeah, here.
so much. So we are super excited if you guys share our post because we want to get this out there for all the people to enjoy our real estate information that don't know much about real estate. You're going to be entered to win one of these 2 books and you can choose them. They're really great. One is The Millionaire Real Estate Investor and the other one is Hold, How to Find, Buy, and Rent Houses for Wealth. So please share and like our post and send us any comments if you want to talk about anything in future episodes. And thanks for joining us.
Yep, thanks.